Welcome to Bed Crime Stories Podcast. I'm your host, T, to my bed crimers. Hi, how are you? I hope you're doing well. To anyone new here, a warm welcome. Thank you for checking out the channel. Do me a favor, if after watching the video you find you enjoyed it or you learned something, smash that like button and please consider subscribing. And if you want to support the work I do, please consider a membership. I keep the price really low, $1.99 a month. Hey, that's much less than even one drink from Starbucks. Now, without further ado, let's dig in. Finally, Harmony Renee Sori has received justice. Her biological mother, Crystal Sori, has asked that Harmony no longer be referred to as Harmony Montgomery, and I'm going to honor her wishes. Harmony's monster of a father, Adam Montgomery, who once again chose not to appear in court, he's a coward and a pansy, was found guilty on all charges. Per the prosecutors, sentencing will likely take place in either March or April, and the hearing will likely last 2 to 3 hours. Now in New Hampshire, if you're charged with a felony, you get 2 numbers. There's a minimum number and a maximum number. The minimum number can be no more than half of what the maximum number is. The minimum number of years is the amount of time that a convict will spend in prison. Once someone hits that number, they're then eligible for parole. But they may not make parole if the powers that be decide that the inmate must remain behind bars. If you make parole, you stay on parole until your maximum number of years, if you live that long. For Adam's charge of abuse of a body, he can receive 12 months in the County House of Corrections. Doesn't seem like very much time to me for that crime. With the second-degree assault, falsifying physical evidence, and witness tampering charges, each one of those is punishable by 3.5 to 7 years in state prison, plus a $5,000 fine and 5 years probation. With regards to the second-degree murder charge, this is anything up to life with the possibility of parole. But because Harmony was under the age of 13, in New Hampshire, the minimum that the court should impose is 35 years to life. Those sentences could be concurrent or consecutive with one another, but they must be consecutive to the sentences Adam received last year in his trial for 2 career criminal charges, which were 33.5 to 67 years in prison. Montgomery is currently 34 years old. If he only serves the minimum of 33.5 years for the previous trial's convictions, that would take him to 67 years, as in 67 years old. If he serves the maximum, that would take him to 101 years old. Let's assume he serves the minimum for those, and he's 67 years old when that sentence is served. For the charges connected to Harmony's case, at a minimum for the first 3 charges, Adam would receive 9 years. Not a lot. As for the most serious charge, I have to believe it would be at least 35 years, but likely more. Add 9 to 67 years old, and we get 76 years old. By the way, I suck at math, so if I make a mistake, just try to be kind. At 35 to 76 years old, and we get 111 years old. And seriously, with the crime he's been convicted of, I do wonder if the internal prison justice system among inmates will take care of Mr. Cocky Adam Montgomery in the shower one day, a la Jeffrey Dahmer. But Harmony's case isn't entirely over. Law enforcement and Crystal Sori are still determined to find Harmony's remains and bring them home so that she can be laid to rest with some dignity, the dignity that she deserves. If you live in New Hampshire or Massachusetts, you can actually help with this important task. There are 26 miles along which Harmony, likely still in that duffel bag, must be located. Listen to what the prosecutor said today about where exactly Adam Montgomery traveled in the U-Haul truck he had a friend rent for him from March 3rd into March 4th of 2020.
Does this mean Excellent question. And the answer is it does not. One of the things that we could not state before, but we can more clearly state now after the verdict, is during trial, people heard the last place that Adam Montgomery had driven that U-Haul to. And I have some specifics on that. I'm hoping people are paying attention. He had that U-Haul between March 3rd into March 4th in 2020. He drove 133 miles. We heard about that on that U-Haul. Subtracting back the 2.3 miles back and forth, 3.2 from the rental, that left him with roughly a 106-mile road trip all the way down, at least through the Tobin bridge tolls, we know, northbound, southbound, northbound again through those tolls, and then back to Manchester. That only left him with 26 miles of driving that he could have done between where he was at the Econo Lodge in Manchester and going through the Tobin those 3 times. What that means is, and we know that he went through no New Hampshire tolls, so what that means is that she is somewhere along that route. And you heard about the searches that have been done, specifically in the Rumney Marsh Reservation in Revere, around the Sales Creek area, the Chelsea Creek area, behind North Shore Road. Revere Police, Mass State Police have been relentless in searching those areas with the Manchester Police Department. These ladies and gentlemen drove down and worked with them hand in hand. Those are still our big areas of search, and our big areas that we're hoping that somebody sees something. Everybody who might have seen the trial also would have seen the CMC bag, and there was a demonstrative that was used during trial. It was the exact same type bag. It had light tan, it was canvas, had dark colored straps, and had a CMC logo in the middle. That was positively identified by multiple witnesses as the bag that Adam Montgomery had the last night that he had that bag in the U-Haul. So that bag went somewhere along that route, and somewhere within, no more than 26 miles off of that route, down and back to Revere. Also at this trial, what was pointed out was the fact that Adam Montgomery was from the Revere area. He would know it very well. That is still a high area of interest, and we are still asking for anybody now who has heard this information, who's seen this information, if you see this bag, if you hear about this bag, if you walk in one of these areas, you take the dog out for a walk, if you see anything like that that seems to be disturbed, so please let us know. You heard also at trial that Harmony's body was bagged up several times inside of that CMC bag. There's a high likelihood that there may still be parts of her that we can recover, part of her body, part of her body that we can recover.
Now, one of Adam's friends, either Travis Beach or his girlfriend, Brittany Bedard, picked up the U-Haul van, which was a 2019 GMC Savannah cargo van, starting from the U-Haul facility, which was located at 515 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire, and drove it to the Econo Lodge, where Adam and Kayla Montgomery were staying. Then Adam supposedly took a Catholic Medical Center maternity bag in which he had stored Harmony, got in the van, and drove down to what's called the Tobin Bridge. This is a toll bridge, and the Massachusetts Department of Transportation logged 3 toll violations by the U-Haul van that Adam was driving. The violations occurred on March 4th, 2020, at 3 different times: 4:44 a.m. at the Tobin Bridge North, 4:45 a.m. at the Tobin Bridge South, and 5:25 a.m. at the Tobin Bridge Local North. Per the prosecutor, the U-Haul van was driven a total of 133 miles. If you subtract the miles used to drive the U-Haul from the U-Haul facility to the Econo Lodge where Adam and Kayla were staying, and then back to the U-Haul facility, then the road trip was roughly 106 miles total. That would be the road trip down to the Tobin Bridge and the road trip back up to Manchester. Per the prosecutor, all of this translates to a 26-mile long route along which Harmony must have been dumped. Note that Adam's friend, Travis Beach, allegedly had a conversation with an inmate named Bobby Johnson, in which Beach told Johnson that the, quote, stuff was wrapped in plastic or plastic bags, end quote, and this stuff was presumably Harmony. The prosecutor mentioned that Adam grew up in Revere, Massachusetts, and that's only a 10-minute drive away from the Tobin Bridge toll gantry. So Adam knows Revere well. Because of that, investigators believe Harmony is likely somewhere in that area. And as you heard, they've already completed many searches there. Harmony being found would be such a comfort to Crystal and Detective Jack Dunleavy with the Manchester Police, who first listened to Crystal when nobody else would, has vowed to keep searching for Harmony. Harmony deserves to have a legitimate final resting place in a peaceful spot where all those who loved her can visit her. Until the next time on Bed Crime Stories.
Same thing. So
you were here most days.
Yeah.
This trial, I guess, was there anything that stuck out to you? How hard was it for you to hear some of these awful details?
I've heard it so much over the last 4 years. It just was a lot different hearing it from their mouths than reading it, It was very hard, But I have to stay strong for my boys. I'm going on 5 years clean, and I'm proud, very proud of that, And this didn't impact that in any way. I know people thought that, but it didn't, and this can only make me stronger from here on out. I'm her voice. I'm the person that's going to carry her on besides my loved ones, carry her memory, and make sure that no one ever forgets about her.
Crystal, I'm sure it's hard to hear. Do you believe the version of events that they said happened in the courtroom? Do you believe that's what happened to your daughter?
What the defense said?
What the prosecutors said?
Yes.
Kayla said?
Yes.
Crystal,
I believe that.
you've gotten your strength for all
fact
this.
that, Adam wasn't in the courtroom even on the day that they delivered the verdict. What is your reaction that he wasn't here today to hear those words and sit there and listen to that guilty verdict?
He's a coward. He's a coward. He's always been a coward. Hence why he did what he did. He took away from the people that loved her because he couldn't hack that he didn't have control. That's all he cared about, was control of everything in his life. She wasn't anything to him.
Crystal, what's next?
A lot. I just can't say yet.
Crystal,
Do you plan
what are
to
your
be
thoughts
there
of
for
Harmony
sentencing?
right now as this verdict comes down?
She's here with me. And she is the one that keeps me strong every day.
He was held accountable today. Is there other people that should be held accountable for what happened, including the state of Massachusetts, the state of New Hampshire?
I won't talk about that.
Will you be there for sentencing and give an impact statement? He is supposed to be there for sentencing. Are you looking forward to seeing him and maybe confronting him?
Yes, I'll be there. And I'll be looking him in the face while I say my impact statement. Because he can't get away from that. He has to be there. So he has to listen.
After all is said and done, would you say justice has been served for your daughter?
We're almost there.
Crystal,
We're almost there.
Crystal, they mentioned that in closing, that your daughter was robbed of dignity, she was robbed of a peace, and she was robbed of a tombstone, a place to go. She's still out there somewhere. How important is that part of it? It's not over for you.
That's still a huge part of it. It's not over. It's not going to be over until she's found. And we are still looking. The police, we as a family, we are still looking.
And Crystal, your message to everyone that has really been impacted and touched by this case?
I just want to thank everybody for the love and the support, and for the people that believed in me and reached out to me this whole time and never doubted me. The people that know me have known my whole life. They know how much I loved my daughter. They know how much I fought for her, and I did everything I could. And when I didn't have anything left, I still tried. So for the people that doubted me, they don't matter to me. They're not a thought in my mind.
Do you have a message for Adam today if he's listening to any of this or heard the verdict? What would you say to him today?
That I hope that what he did plays over in his mind every single waking moment that he lives on this earth. And I hope that he never falls asleep without seeing her beautiful face.
Did you think that this day would come? I mean, you struggled with this, you couldn't find her. Did you ever think that this day would come? And
I knew it would, because that's why I did all that I did, so that it would.
Did he give you any solace at all?
A little bit of peace, but she's still out there, so that's what I think about every day.
What are your thoughts on all the work police have done already and continue to do?
Oh, the police have been amazing. They still reach out to me and tell me all of the, they're doing, and they all showed up here today to be there for her. That meant a lot to me.
Thank you, Crystal.
Crystal, thank you so much.
Thank you.